Good morning, legal nurse rock stars. It's Janice Stolnick, and I am so happy that you're here with me. Today on this podcast, I actually want to talk a bit about experience as a legal nurse consultant, because here's what happens. We get a ton of newbies inside of our Legal Nurses Rock Facebook group and our Legal Nurses Talk community, and there's a common misconception that in order to be successful as a legal nurse consultant, you have to have experience. And I think what happens is when most nurses are out there and they're starting to research legal nurse consulting, they hop on Google, and the first things that come up are perhaps attorney law firms that are looking for legal nurse consultants. And when you look under what's required, it says that they need experience as a legal nurse, there are some programs out there that offer a certification, which you guys is not required to be a legal nurse, but there are programs that offer certification, and it says in order to take the exam, you also have to have experience. So we get all these nurses who are super excited, but then they feel like, they've just hit a wall. It's like, how in the heck do I get started in this industry if I have to have experience? It doesn't make sense. So you are right to feel confused, because there's a lot of very mixed messages out there. And so what I want to do in this podcast is I want to explain kind of how things work so that you get a better understanding and know that you can do this without any experience, and hopefully light a fire under you so that you can go out there and start your LNC journey and be very successful at it. So let me do a bit of a rundown on how this LNC thing works. So as an RN, typically I like to say anywhere between 5 to 10 years. You'll hear a lot of experienced legal nurse consultants out in the field that'll say you need to have at least 10 years experience. I've been a legal nurse consultant for 11 years. I started with only 5 years of RN experience. I was an LVN before that, so I did have some hands-on hospital experience. I worked in the hospital as an LVN, but as far as an RN, I had been an RN for only 5 years when I started my LNC journey back in 2009. So I got the same, if you've heard the same objection out there, like you have to have 10 years and you're like, I only have 5 years, and you feel a bit discouraged, just know that you can still make it work even with 5 years of experience. It all really depends on you and what you want to do and how much effort you're willing to put into a business yourself, that continuing education. So you're out there, you're a new RN, you're a new RN or experienced RN, but looking into the field of legal nurse consulting, and you hop on Google and you see these things that say you need all this experience. And the truth be told, you guys, this is still a very new field of nursing. Not that it's new to attorneys. A lot of attorneys still don't really know who we are and what we do, which is really great. So a majority of what I do is still in my business today, 11 years later, is educate the attorney on what a legal nurse is and how they can help. Okay, so when you're hopping on Google and you're looking up legal nurse consulting jobs and you see 3 jobs that all require experience, you guys, that's like 3 law firms in like all of the United States, okay, that actually know what an LNC is. There are so many, millions of attorneys, first of all, and so many of them, a majority of them, don't even know what an LNC is and what they can do to help. So what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter that you don't have LNC experience. If you are an entrepreneur at heart, you can go out there and you can market to an attorney themselves. I usually start with my own backyard, friends, family, who knows an attorneys in my area that are practicing in personal injury, med mal, any specialty that you want to work on. And I reach out and I let them know, hey, I'm a legal nurse consultant. Have you ever worked with one? Kind of find out if they even know what one is, and then share how you can benefit their team. What benefits do you bring to them as a team? And all of this is stuff that you're going to learn as you are training to become a legal nurse consultant. So But you don't have to work as a subcontractor for anyone. You don't have to go on Google and find a law firm to hire you. You don't have to do anything. You can forge your own path to legal nurse consulting success without anybody telling you yes or no. Literally, you can start your own career path on your own today and not necessarily rely on anybody. And that's what I did. And that's what so many of us have done inside the Legal Nurses Rock group. I didn't start as a subcontractor. I was fed up with what I was seeing as a travel nurse. And I was tired of the nursing shifts. I wanted to start a family, and I was tired of working the long weekends and the holidays and just being away and not present in my family's life. And so I started, like many of you, Googling. Back in 2009, Facebook wasn't really as big as it is now, and there was nothing there really to help me. So I found a program at the time. I paid $20,000 for this 2-week program in person. It was a ton of money, but I was committed. It taught me a lot about being a legal nurse consultant and what that looked like. But when it was done, it did not show me how to build a successful LNC business. So I was on my own. Essentially, I was $20K in debt and on my own to figure it out. And so what I did was I took to the streets of Chicago. It was winter. It was 2009, December, and I was new to Chicago there on a travel assignment, and I was going basically door to door to attorney firms until I landed my first case. And you guys, I didn't even know what I was doing. Like I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing, right? Like the guy handed me literally a box of medical records, and I was so excited. And I hopped into a cab, freezing, and I drove back home, and I sat on my living room floor with this box, and I just started digging in. And I had sticky notes galore. The papers were all over the living room. They even went into my bedroom as I was sorting dates and times and just trying to make sense of what was there. And you guys, I forged this path on my own, right? I didn't rely on anybody else to bring me a case. I didn't go on Google and try to get an attorney to hire me because, one that wanted experience. I didn't go that route. I just went out and created and paved that path on my own. So you can absolutely pave your own path. There's multiple ways into the legal nurse consulting industry. You can find a successful LNC and say, hey, I'd love to subcontract for you. It's kind of hard, and that's not, subcontracting. If you get lucky, you can be a sub for a long time. We have quite a few subcontractors that work for us, but they're amazing, and good subs are hard to find. And when we find good subs, we don't let them go. We want them to be with us forever. So, once we're bringing in more cases, of course, my personal company, National Nurse Consulting, we're always, trying to find subs to bring into our business as we grow. So there are opportunities there inside of the Legal Nurses Rock group that we typically, our sub gigs always go to our members, our paid members first, because we know them, we see their work, we work with them, we talk to them one-on-one almost every day. So we get to know these people really well. We get to know their work ethic. And so that's an important thing for us. We typically don't just hire nurses right off the street. I lost you guys, which we have done. And it's been very time consuming. It's cost us as a company a lot of money and a lot of time. And it just hasn't turned out well for us. So we typically only hire as subs through the Legal Nurses Rock Training Lounge after they've trained with us. They've been with us for a while. We've gotten to know their personality. Like, we want the best of the best nurses out there working with our attorney clients. And so you have, you can always, you'll see it inside of our group where people say, hey, I'm looking to subcontract. And sometimes, sometimes that works. Be persistent. If you are like somebody that wants to work as a subcontractor and you know that you do not want to go out there and just start knocking on doors like I did, You got to be persistent. You got to make sure you follow up with those nurses that you're reaching out to that you want to do sub gigs with. Because for me, I forget, you guys, I'm busy. I'm working a business. I'm working with my team. I'm running these free groups, these paid groups to train nurses. So I'm busy. And the people that typically get the gigs, that are reaching out to me are the ones that follow up. So if you are reaching out to other legal nurses, make sure you follow up. That's where a lot of LNCs fail, is they fail in the follow-up. And guys, the fortune is always in the follow-up. So make sure that you're following up if that is the route that you choose to take. And, really, that's it. You've got to either forge the path on your own, or you've got to, go out and find some nurses that are successful and offer your services to them. And something else that I see, and it's hard, a lot of LNCs come out and they'll be like, well, I want to get paid as a sub $150 an hour. You guys, there is so much overhead that a nurse who is subcontracting with other nurses, there's so much overhead involved. And I don't think people understand that. My team, whenever a sub creates a product for us, it goes through a QA process, and we have to pay a nurse to QA their work to make sure that work is up and up. Nothing goes directly to the attorney unless it's an expert witness report. That's a totally different story. But behind the scenes work, we want to make sure these reports are following exactly what that attorney has requested. And so we have what's called a QA process inside of my company, inside of my business. And so, we're paying for a nurse to QA that nurse's work. We're paying a nurse to sit on Voxer and to do training with them and to allow them to ask questions. And there's a lot of time and money involved in training and using subcontractors, because every case is not created the same. Every attorney is not the same. So you get these subcontractors that hop in and just think, oh, I'm a nurse, I know what I'm doing, I'll just create this report. And they create a report that this lawyer can't use because that lawyer has a different learning preference or different learning style, and it's not helpful to them. So we have to train them on certain templates that we use on different styles, and when these subs come in, they're like, I want $150 an hour, and it's super unrealistic. So you need to be very realistic if you're going the sub route, that you're probably going to get paid around what you make in the hospital as a sub. Why? Because somebody else went out and did the marketing to the attorney. That was time, right? Time is money in a business. Somebody else is also correcting your work. Somebody else is also training you. There is a lot off the top that as a company and as a business, we have to take in order to have successful, LNCs inside our business that we want to use. So there's a lot involved. So don't be the sub that comes out and says, I just had someone say this to me the other day, yeah, I'll sub for you, but I'm not going to sub for, blah, blah, blah an hour. I want to make $130 an hour. And I'm like, okay, well, that's what I make an hour. That's what our company makes an hour. And there's still overhead. I have to pay for, some of our law firms have, not memberships, they are licenses for the certain programs that we have to document in, and that costs money. It's so much, $300 per year per nurse. Who's paying for that? I'm not asking my sub to pay for that, but that comes off the top of their pay. So there's a lot of misconception with sub work too. So just be realistic. If you're out there subbing, you're not going to go out and get a sub gig at $150 an hour for behind the scenes work. As an expert witness, it's totally different. I pay my experts a lot of money, $150 to $300 per hour, depending on what they're doing. So that's a different story. But for behind the scenes, consistent report writing style work, you guys are probably going to make what you make about in the hospital. So have that realistic expectation that you're probably going to make what you make in a hospital, except you're a 1099. You are now no longer an employee. You're a 1099 contractor. You now have a lot of access to a ton of write-offs, tax write-offs. So you end up, if you have the right tax guy, you can end up bringing in more money than you did in the hospital. You have more freedom to work when you want, when you don't want. etc. Like today is my daughter's first birthday, and guess what? I'm not working. So there's a lot more freedom in being your own boss and having someone else go out and do the marketing and that hard part that a lot of LNCs don't like doing. They don't like talking to the lawyers. They don't want to do the marketing. They don't want to do the invoicing. They just rather just have the work fall on their desk, and that's okay. But you're not going to make a gazillion dollars in that position. So just have that realistic expectation when you are going out there wanting to work as a sub, okay? If you want to be the boss, you're going to make more money. I mean, that goes with any job, right? If you're the boss, you make more money. So if you want to be the boss and you want to make more money, you're going to have to get out there, get out of your comfort zone, go door to door, use social media. You're going to have to do a ton of reach out methods, and it's a numbers game. How many lawyers you're reaching out to? They're busy. They're not all going to get back to you right away. Some take 2 years to get back to you. Some take 3 months. Some take 2 days. So you need to have those realistic expectations there too as you are going out and, finding those attorney clients. It's funny. It's a job that I tell everyone it's not an overnight success until it's an overnight success. Like it literally goes from today I could have nothing and be dirt broke poor, and then tomorrow I could land a class action and be making a ton of money. So it's like this. It's not an overnight success because you just never know when something fabulous is going to happen, and that can happen overnight, and then suddenly it's an overnight success. It's the weirdest career ever. But the people that win in this business, you guys, are the people that keep going and are persistent and never stop. So here's what happens. I started in 2009. I never quit. I kept going. I kept bugging the lawyers. I kept marketing. I kept doing all those things. And the people that I started with started falling off. They started giving up. This doesn't work. Going back to their job because their job is comfortable. Who doesn't like a paycheck every 2 weeks? That's nice. They kept going. They kept quitting and falling off. And here's me. I kept going. I just kept going straight. I'm not quitting. 11 years later, my friends have gotten a couple bucks more an hour wage, and I'm making 5 times the amount they are. And we're in totally different places in our lives, right? So you've got to determine, first of all, what kind of legal nurse you want to be. Do you want to be a sub, or do you want to be the boss? And then if you're going to be the boss, head down, nonstop, keep going. You guys, I used to work 12-hour shifts. On my lunch break, I was marketing. I never stopped. I came home. I put the kids down. I market. Like it is a time. Being a legal nurse is being a boss, being an entrepreneur is a lot of time, but it's so worth it. Once you land that case, it's so worth it. Once you can start cutting back those hours at the hospital, and you go from your 3 to 4 days per week down to 2 days a week. I remember when I cut 1 day off, I went from 3 to 2. What a difference that was. Like I suddenly felt so free. Like I had all this free time. That was an incredible moment for me to be able to cut back just 1 12-hour shift a week. And that excited me. So if you can just do enough to cut back 1 day and feel that freedom and feel it in, deep down in your soul and know like, wow, I have goosebumps because I remember that moment so clearly. It was freeing to me. It was like, oh my gosh, this works. Now, what do I have to do to cut back all these days, to cut back and never come back to the hospital, basically. And I just did what I did on steroids so that I could get to where I am today. And so you can do this, but I just want you to know, like, when you're coming into these groups, I get it. It's super confusing. It's like, this says I need experience. This says I need experience to even sit for the certification exam, but nobody's hiring subs. So how do I even break into this industry? You guys, if you're going to break into it, a majority of you will have to do it on your own. You're going to have to get out there and try to do it on your own. You're going to have to build a business. You're going to have to market. If you don't like marketing, guys, get uncomfortable because you're going to have to do it. It's just, it's part of owning a business. I like to think of it more as educating. It helps me not feel like I'm some sleazy salesperson. As nurses, we do a majority of our job in the hospital is educating patients and families. And if you can take that and go, okay, in my legal nursing career, a majority of my time is spent educating attorneys on what a legal nurse is, how they can help, what they can do to change their firm and to change their life and to bring in more money. The bottom line is helping them increase their income and helping their client win. So if you can switch it from, I don't want to be a sleazy salesperson, to I'm gonna take the time to educate these attorneys and let them know how awesome registered nurses are, why we're so great, why in a lot of situations we're better than hiring a physician, unless it's an expert and necessary. Why we're a better place to invest, or just a better all-around option. So if you can think like that, think I'm educating, teaching, and I'm helping these guys, that might make you a little more comfortable as you're first starting out. And do some outreaches. Start small. Start in your own backyard, you guys. Don't try to take on the world when you're first starting. Like, don't reach out to Canada or Australia if you live in, sunny Southern California. Really, first start out with your families. Hey, do I have any lawyers that are in med mal, PI, blah, 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 blah. Name some specialties you'd like to work with, and find out, put a reach out there, see who you know, who they know. Then, look in your general area. What's around your house within a 5-mile radius? Who can you reach out to? If you're looking for, heck, I don't even know what to say. What do I say? Well, guess what? We've thought of all of that for you inside of the Legal Nurses Rock community, you guys. If you are struggling, we have it all there for you. It took me 2 years to develop the Legal Nurses Talk, Legal Nurses Rock community. It just got a new face. We just rebranded. We just uploaded all new documents, you guys. It's fabulous. It's awesome. You'll want to check it out at legalnursesrock.com, rock.com. And you can grab your free ebook. I lay out the 10 steps to getting started as a brand new legal nurse consultant. Grab my book. It is free. Check it out. You get a free ebook and see if those 10 steps are something you even want to try or attempt or even do. Maybe this isn't a field for you, but maybe you're like, oh, this isn't as hard as I thought. And then look at joining us over inside the Legal Nurses Rock and Legal Nurses Talk community. We have a community off of Facebook that's full of free downloads, an FAQ for you, lots of stuff that you can download and print as you're working on your journey. And then if you're like, you know what, I need more support. I want that group coaching. I want those subcontract opportunities. I want the chance to do intern practice cases. I want to better my report writing skills. Then you want to take a look at joining us inside of the Legal Nurses Rock Training Lounge. And you can check that out inside the Legal Nurses Talk community, or check out more about it at legalnursesrock.com. But you guys, if this is something you want to do, it is life-changing, it is incredible, but it is hard work. Okay, there's a lot of programs out there that sell this as if you're going to make $1 gazillion overnight and that it's pretty easy and attorneys come knocking on your door. That is simply not the case. Okay, I'm being very honest with you, and I think that's why most people appreciate me, is that I'm very transparent. That is not how this works. You're going to have to go out. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. But the great thing about it, you guys, is you now have a community of nurses who've been there, done that, who are willing to link arms with you and want to see you and watch you succeed. That didn't exist when I started. I was literally on my own. That's why I created this community. I created this community, you guys, because I was alone. I was all by myself. Don't I have any other friends that want to do this with me? That's literally why I created the Legal Nurses Rock community 5 years ago. I was by myself and I was tired of it. And now we've got a group. We've got a Facebook page with 18,000 plus nurses. We've got a private group with 3,000 plus nurses. You guys, it's incredible. We are amazing, and we will, I have a goal that lawyers are going across the entire world are going to know what legal nurses are and how we can help. And we're going to make where when a lawyer sits down to take any type of case with medical records, they're going to be like, I need a legal nurse. We are going to educate so many lawyers in so many ways that they're going to know if they take a case and it contains any amount of medical records, whether it's a page and it's an autopsy report to 30,000 nursing home pages, they're going to know that their best investment for themselves, for their business, and for their client is going to be having a legal nurse on their team. And I'm so certain that we are kind of, paving the way, and we're making noise. And I love that. So, and I really want you to be a part of it. If deep down you're like, yeah, heck yeah, I want to do that too. I love forensics. I love, digging through the records to find out what happened. If that's you and that's your soul and that's your heart, you guys, we want you on our team. So check out legalnursesrock.com. I am so grateful for those of you that are new, for those of you that have been with us for quite a while. I'm just so grateful for all the things that you're doing inside of our group, and for really just you guys engaging, being a part of the group, posting motivational, inspirational things. You guys, we have such a fabulous team of legal nurses, and I love each and every one of you so much. I'm so grateful for you guys, and I'm cheering you on every single day. Get out there, make your dreams happen, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. I'll see you all on the inside soon. Bye-bye.